Okay, it's time for the paper review now. Let's bring you the headlines across newspapers in Nigeria. And we have joining us the managing editor of Groom TV, Ayodele Adio, with us in the studio. Ayodele, good morning.
You're welcome.
Morning.
Nice to see you. Yeah.
All right, so let's start with the Punch newspaper. Major story here is Oshunpol. FG pays constables 50,000 naira each for election duty. Others more. Allowance more than 45,000 naira monthly salary. Interesting. And in fact, the PDP candidate, Adeleke, is kicking that amount is suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite, if you're in his shoes, you'd also be suspicious of such
Really
an
disturbing.
amount. Quite disturbing. You see, the very subtle ways that, we tend to, I don't want to preempt, what is going to happen on Saturday, but if this was a standard, backed by law, that each time there was an election and policemen or, security agencies deployed to whatever local government or whatever states to run elections are entitled to a specific compensation package, nobody would be raising eyebrows, right? If it was, in law. But suddenly people appear in Osun State and they have such, a huge juicy compensation plan. And I'm wondering what they are being compensated for.
Not because, compensation is for their duty. This is a special duty, something
Like
out of
a special package for the assignment.
For the special assignment.
What's special about providing security for an election?
Okay, let's go to the top of the paper. From the top left. Lagos government ticket. Ambode's wife fails in bid to change Tinubu's mind. Let's just leave that. Presidency. APC have presidential aspirant in PDP. Wike insists. Now, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State is saying that the APC has planted someone in their own party, the PDP, to vie for the ticket of the party and emerge as the candidate.
So if the person emerges, what happens? You switch
not
back.
Be able to frustrate,
well, the point is, one would say that's politics. You also have what it takes to plant someone in the other political party too. So.
All right, decide electoral cases on merit. CJN warns judges. This, would you say, is coming at a good time, going to an election year?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, and of course, it's not just about rhetorics. I'm not swayed or moved by rhetorics, however forceful you try to make them. I want to see that you've put systems and structures in place to ensure that what you're saying can actually translate to meaningful change at the end of the day. So while you charge them to do the right things, we also have to ensure that there are systems in place that ensure that they are compelled to do the right thing.
All right. Malibu Italian judge to give first ruling. Choir pensioners threatened to boycott elections 2019. APC to commence screening of aspirants today.
Okay, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper now. The first headline here says pressure piles on Ambode to drop second-term bid. And ex-Lagos PDP chair Salvador, 6 others to screen APC aspirants. You see the dynamics in politics.
Indeed.
Ashafa in storm over alleged romance with Abuja group. Okay, these are times, very interesting times, I must say.
Interesting times indeed.
Need for single 6-year term for president and governors. Well, this is a column, this is an editorial. But this is still on the front burner as to whether we should still have the rolling 4-year term or have a fixed single term for presidents. But
I think it's a very interesting question because the truth about the way democracies are run, particularly 4-term democracies, you are pressured to do the exact things that are going to get you elected. And so you do not have the time, or you do not have the time to concentrate and focus on long-term reforms that are going to position your country for meaningful economic development, going forward. So if we can agree on a system in which people who are saddled with the responsibility of running the state or the government at the center will not be pressured by white elephant or petty projects, just to get re-elected, but will be able to focus on long-term reforms, where they can, because the truth is, it takes a long time for educational reforms to manifest.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So if you focus on educational reforms and the man cannot travel on a smooth road from one local government to another, then you're in trouble. You have not worked, you have not delivered. And so our politicians want to deliver. And, you know, I mean, it's not their fault, it's democracy. You want to win another election. So if you give them longer terms where they can focus and less on politics, and you know that it's just going to be one term.
Longer one term.
Nobody's going to pull the rug under your feet at the end of the term. So
but there are arguments on both sides, because there's another argument that says if you have a single term, the moment you win your election, you can do anything you want to do
from the beginning,
or decide not to do anything you want to do, depending on, because you know you're not coming back.
But we run. The truth is, we run a republic, and in a republic, you have a strong National Assembly that is supposed to check the excesses of that executive. You know, and so it doesn't matter if you have, you know, a one shot at the presidency. If you have a strong National Assembly that do their job, you know, that checkmate you at every step, you will not be able to.
And that's the thing, really, because most of the time you would ask yourself, how many times have Nigerians seen the National Assembly you know, do its job as expected? Most of the time, if it wants to do something, you know, that is on the part of the law, backed by the law, some would tout it as the enemy of the executive. Well,
we've seen all of these before. So, but I underline the word if. If we have a National Assembly, so that's good. All right, 2019 National Assembly agrees with the Buhari harmonizes electoral amendment bill. CBN BPE signed sale of 12.6 billion naira federal government shares in Mint. All right, restructuring comments. Yakasai disturbed by old age, says Ayo Adebanjo. This is a fallout of the statement by Yakasai yesterday.
Okay, so we go to the Nation newspaper. Major story here. Buhari to Osun. Vote APC to shut out corrupt leaders. Governors Tinubu, Akonde, Oshoba, others campaign for Oyetola, plus other riders down here. Lasso predicts APC's victory. Party accuses INEC of excluding its candidate. People living with disabilities back ADC candidate. APC's chances bright, says Ahmed. So many stories breaking out from just one mega rally yesterday where President Muhammadu Buhari was present.
It was an interesting rally yesterday. You know, the thing, or the central point, you know, was about corruption, you know, as always. You know, they should ensure that they do not vote corrupt leaders. But I think APC will be running quite a tough challenge on Saturday, because they seem to be, you know, another credible alternative, Omishori. And of course, whatever you think about the senator, he seems to be popular in his own base. So it's going to be a very tough election on Saturday, and let the best man win.
And like you said earlier, it's no longer a two-horse race.
No, it's not two-horse, it's a three-horse race.
In fact, some are saying five-horse race.
Or even seven-horse race. Or at the end of the 48-horse race.
Exactly, yes. Sanwo-Olu, Hamzat, challenge good. That's in Lagos. Like we said, it's getting more interesting. Let's leave that. Fayose, I am ready for interrogation September 20th. Governor Ayodele Fayose, in fact, is so ready to face the EFCC.
Yeah, I mean,
in fact, he's just waiting for his time.
I like the fact that he's confident, you know, to face the EFCC. And if there's any man, you know, that has, you know, gone through the eye of the needle, you know, through fire and leaped over a wall in our Nigerian political, recent political history, it will be Governor Fayose. He survived several of these. So
let's to say he too contributed in heating the system too.
So let's see how he skills through this.
Okay, state's debt profile quickly. Now 4.449 trillion naira, says budget.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a serious issue.
It's really serious. Piling up. Daily Sun is our next paper now. National Assembly addresses Buhari's observations. Card reader legalized in latest electoral bill. Amendment to strengthen INEC, says Senate Committee Chair. Okay. Flood wreaks more havoc in Anambra and Bayelsa. Submerges communities. Obiano asks villagers to relocate. This is troubling. And we have still on the issue of flood. With the front page there has a bold picture of part of the flood in Akpogbo in Lagos, on Lagos Island rather, yesterday when it rained. All right, Osun Guba, Buhari, Tinubu, APC governors woo voters for Oyetola. Court decides Adeleke's fate today. That's the PDP candidate. All right, Kalu meets IBB in Mina, makes case for Buhari's re-election. Okay, it seems urges of Kalu seem to be playing a strong role in the re-election bid of the president.
He does. He's been doing that for quite a while now. He's been quite vocal, aiming in his support for the president, and he's taking it to another level now. So it's good that he's getting himself involved in the presidential campaign, and let's see how far that goes. But I'm more interested in the harmonization of the electoral bill because it went without so much noise. The president highlighted a few issues that he had problems with, and quietly the National Assembly worked to fix it. And everybody's happy, you know. So I think what you expect going forward is a little of the tension, a little of the back and forth that usually happens. You're going to disagree, but it's your ability to work together towards national interest that has to remain ultimate. Nobody's the enemy of the other here. I mean, everybody's there to do their own jobs. Absolutely. One is there to implement, one is there to checkmate. So it's your ability to work together in the interest of Nigerian people that should be supreme.
Okay. PDP presidential ticket, Rivers will collectively decide aspirant to support. Wike is saying that. And Christian-Muslim leaders signed peace pact in Abuja. Okay. That's the Daily Sun. Okay,
so we go to the last paper, but not the least. The major story here: don't allow corrupt politicians to return to power. Buhari tells Nigerians, storms Osun with 9 governors for Oyetola. We already talked about that. So atop that story, we have Ambode. Tinubu consults Governor's Advisory Council today, but his decision final on governor's fate. So we'll know pretty soon if what we are hearing is going to be concrete or not. Let's just leave that. Okay, so we go down here by the left. PDP rejects INEC's ban on smartphones camera. But we need to clarify here. The chairman of INEC, Mahmoud Yakuba, said that voters won't be barred from holding their smartphones, but from the point of collecting their ballot papers to the point of putting the marked ballot paper into the ballot box, they won't be allowed to hold any gadget.
Well, yes, it does make academic sense. You know that
I like the way you put it.
It makes academic sense that they take the pictures right when they're about to, and then they go and show their client that business had been done accordingly. Yes, but but the systemic issue of vote buying cannot and will not be dealt with by not allowing a smartphone going into the polling booth. This vote buying thing, whether you like it or not, is going to happen. It's going to happen largely because we have pauperized our people. They're extremely poor, and that's the only contact they are going to have with the politician for the next 4 years. And whatever the man is putting or that woman is putting on the table at that very point, they are going to take it.
Weaponization of poverty.
Exactly, and then you can't judge them for that because that's the only thing that they receive from government at that particular point.
There are even concerns that the vote buying now takes place. The main vote buying now takes place even before the election. And from some reports we got that there were some people already collating account numbers of people.
I mean, it's really sad, what we're doing to our people, and I think the only way we can defeat this ugly monster of vote buying is to push for legislations that puts a cap on electioneering campaigns and puts a cap on the monies that are going to be spent on elections.
But we have many caps, really, on the amount to be spent on campaigns.
By a particular individual. Yes.
But then, do they conform?
No, but the cap is on a particular individual. You can't donate more than ₦1 million into a campaign, but it's open, generally. So you spend billions for a senatorial seat, you spend billions and billions for a gubernatorial election. Those caps need to be put in place. Those caps need to be put in the cost of nomination form so that by law we can compel that certain amounts should not flood the electoral process.
But how do you calculate? That's what I'm saying. How do you know the amount?
How do you monitor?
Exactly. So how do you know?
Those are still challenges for INEC to handle because they have the mandate to ensure that